Welcome everybody to the Ancient Evil Easter Egg Guide, all the way through start to finish on how to complete this Easter egg. Very easy to follow, very easy to do. I'm going to go ahead and walk you guys through each and every step, so let's go ahead and get started with step one. So the first step is to activate the Sundial artifact, do the ritual in here, and actually spawn in Pegasus. Once you do spawn in Pegasus for the first time, you're going to need to head to one of two locations. The first is over here by all of the gold and everything like that. You can always check my locations during this tutorial in the top left-hand corner, or it's over here right next to the statue of Achilles. So these are the two locations for the bridle. Once you get the golden bridle, you're going to head back down to the very bottom of the map, and you're going to hop on Pegasus, and he's going to take you to the Pack-a-Punch. Now, once you are at the underworld, you need to go ahead and unlock the Pack-a-Punch itself by taking out your specialist weapon and hitting both the left-hand side and right-hand side cages to get both of the eagles down, and then head to the middle. They will perform a ritual. You're going to have to defend it for a few seconds, and then you will actually get the Pack-a-Punch spawned in, and that is the first step completed, and you're ready to get on to step two. So for the next step, what you need to do is start completing a ton of challenges, and you need to complete about 9 or 10 levels of challenges. So go ahead, head over to the podium and start buying challenges and doing whatever they say as quickly as possible, because you need to earn as much challenge credit as you can, and then turn it into the basically fire podium. I don't know what you want to call it here. This giant cauldron. Once you start turning in challenges, it will start growing more and more blue. And once it is completely blue, you will get a quote about the eternal flame being lit, Apollo being happy, and you will be able to go on to the next step. But before you do that, and while you're actually completing your challenges, you do need to upgrade every single one of the gauntlets. Basically, you're going to need them throughout this Easter egg. The wind one you don't need till the very end. The death one is probably the one you should go for first, because that is the first gauntlet that you need. But basically, start upgrading gauntlets while you're completing challenges. This will get a lot of stuff out of the way early on when the rounds are very, very easy. So keep on completing everything. Keep on upgrading gauntlets. If you do not know how to upgrade all of the gauntlets, I have an entire guide down below in the description of this video. It's the only other resource you'll need to complete this Easter egg. So basically, upgrade all the gauntlets, complete a bunch of challenges, and then you're ready to go for the next step. So for the next step, you do need to turn in all of your challenges and have that challenge podium completely blue. You don't at this point have to have any of the gauntlets upgraded, but once again, you need to be working on them, so you're not doing it on later rounds. But once you do have that flaming blue cauldron, you get the quote about the eternal flame. Take out your melee weapon or your shield and melee it into the fire, and it will actually set your spear on fire and start doing damage to your shield. You'll feel a little vibration in your controller, and that's when you know you're good to go. So you need to take this flaming spear, head down over here right next to the statue, and melee the wall right here. It'll have a little oil spill on the wall, and just keep on running through to each one of these 3 locations that I show you. It'll be the exact same in every single game. There's not multiple spawn points for this. So all you need to do, once again, see that oil spill on the wall, melee it, it'll burn up the wall and it will explode. And then once you melee the third one, it will reveal the third symbol. You don't need to worry about the symbols at all right now. And you'll feel a big activation noise, a big activation rumble and everything like that. And then you will actually get the next step of the Easter egg completed. A light beam will shine in from the outside world after you do melee all 3 of those 3 things with the flaming spear, and you're ready to go to the next step. After you get that light beam streaming in, you need to go ahead and take the upgraded death gauntlet and head down to the very bottom here next to the Spartan monument. Shoot a pool of blood on the ground, and you will see these statues' heads start lighting up. Now, you're going to need to just regular shoot 4 of these statues' heads. There will basically be just spawning in a bunch of skeletons around you and everything like that. But as long as you stay standing on your blood and replenish your pool of blood after about halfway, you can't shoot them unless you're standing in a fresh pool of blood. So just shoot a new charge shot on the ground, keep on shooting them, and after the 4th one is shot, you will get an instant completion for this and be ready to go on to the next step. There it is. The last one has been shot, and you're ready to go on to the next step. That's very, very simple. All you need to do, let's move on. Now, immediately after doing this, you can actually move on to the next step, and that is going to be breaking out 3 different walls and sticking 3 different cogs in place to actually activate these statues and make these citizens turn. So go ahead and use your spear to blow out these walls where I'm showing you here. The first one is right there behind that. You can hear the gears moving and everything like that. It should be pretty darn simple. The second one is down here, and go ahead and blow that one out. And what you need to do is you need to actually zoom in with your spear and throw it with exact timing to stick the little cog next to the big cog. As you can see, I threw it with perfect timing. It actually had the spear stick in the wall. If the spear is not sticking in the wall and that cog is stuck, you've actually done it incorrectly. You just need to time it, wait for the gear to come down, throw it, and it should spear directly through the small cog and hold the big cog in place. So it's actually turning the big cog. Now, the third one is over here right at the intersection of treasuries. This one's a little bit harder to do. You actually want to throw the spear when the little cog is on top of the big cog, and that'll actually stick it in place. Again, it will take some practice. It will take some timing and everything like that. But once you do get it, you have all 3 of these done, and all 3 of the statues in this little circle will be turning. Now at this point, you need to basically do the hardest one, which is just throwing a spear pretty much at the top left hand corner of the big circle's back cog over there. There's no smaller cog on this one. You just need to stick the back spear in place and it will raise up this little middle thing. It's basically the last thing you need to do. So just keep on throwing the spears. You need to aim it for kind of like the top left middle of this. Just keep on throwing it. Eventually you'll get it. It'll seem like you need to do an extra step. No, you just need to get lucky with it kind of. And whenever you do actually connect with it, it'll stick in place. It'll do a big activation sound and you're actually done with this step, and we can move on to the next one. So doing that last step, sticking the cogs in place, will spawn in this little piece of Ra's scepter at the intersection of treasuries. Now, at this point, you need one of the Gangis, one of the huge, gigantic 6 arms people, and you need to basically clean out the entire horde of zombies so you only have 1 zombie left, because you're basically going to force him to shield blast this little part. And to do this, the way you force him to shield blast is you shoot him in his weak spot. You should see some yellow stuff pop out, and he'll go down into a defensive stance and then pull out a shield and just basically stand right in front of that little piece of the Ra's statue, and it will come out of the crystal and you can just pick it up. The rest of the crystal will just crumble off of it, and there you go, you have that part. Now you're just going to go ahead and take this directly to Ra, put it in his hand, and we're ready to go to the next step. So after you give Ra his scepter, he will basically ask for his staff. Now he'll put up his hand, you'll get a quote about a staff, and then you need to grab the upgraded nature gauntlet, head over to this area, and you're gonna shoot these little nature things that spawn in. Now you're gonna shoot this one over here. To activate it, it'll actually lock on. And as you can see, you get those green flashes very, very briefly. Now all you need to do to get these green flashes going and basically complete this is just stand at the top of the stairs and shoot to the left of this big pillar, and it will automatically lock on and take him out. You don't even have to know what you're doing, really. Just know that you shoot one to activate the trial. You shoot the first set of 3 and that'll spawn the second set of 3, and then you shoot the second set of 3 and you have it completed. You'll know you've done it right when one of these big guys spawns in, and you'll know you're doing it incorrectly if basically the first one that activates in this entire trial respawns. If that respawns, you've done it incorrectly. Just go ahead and start again. You get unlimited tries on this, and just go ahead and use your Gaia gauntlet. So once this big guy spawns in, go ahead and take him out. He will actually drop a specialty spear that will stick into the ground. Pick this up, and then you're gonna put it right pretty much exactly where you were in this area. It'll go right in that little sundial, and you're on to the next step. Now, once you do get to this step, you will basically get a ton of electric zombies that will spawn in for every single round after this until you complete this step. So go ahead, lure the electric zombie onto this little sundial. You're going to kill the electric zombie on it, and it will charge it up and power it up, and you'll see a little dial start spinning at the bottom. Now, this part, it sounds really confusing, but it's honestly one of the easier parts in this Easter egg. So all this is that it's basically an underground dial that has 7 symbols that are orange and 1 symbol that is blue. And basically all you're doing is you're holding square on the staff in the middle to stop the blue symbol on the electric line that you see coming out of the top of the staff on the ground, kind of just coming out of the middle, and you're stopping the blue symbol on there by holding square on the staff. That's literally all it is. So there's 7 orange ones, 1 blue one, and you're basically just going to track the blue one all the way around and then stop it right before it gets onto that line. So as you can see, there's the blue one, and I'm just tracking it on all the gold ones. They only go on the gold ones. You can skip the silver ones or whatever. Just track it underneath, underground on the gold ones, and then stop it once it gets on that line. And if you do it correctly, it'll kind of open up. It'll show that blue symbol, and the next ring will open up, and it'll go a little bit faster. Same exact process. Kill an electric zombie on top. Go ahead and complete that. Just stop it on the exact line once again, and then last but not least, do the exact same thing one more time. It'll be probably the easiest one, honestly, because the dial spins pretty fast and you get a lot of tries at it. So go ahead, attempt this as many times as you want. It's no reward or no bad things happen if you mess up. Just go ahead and kill another electric zombie and you can keep on going. And once you've done all 3, the staff will lower into the ground and you are good to go on to the next step. So for this step, you're going to need the light gauntlet completely upgraded once again, and this is probably one of the most dangerous steps in the game, so I recommend placing down Pegasus outside right before you start the step. You're going to head inside and then place your gauntlet on Ra's hand, and basically you have to stay inside of this room and kill zombies. You don't actually have to kill any of the zombies. The zombies are perfectly fine to run around as they please. What you have to do is you have to kill the skeletons who start shield blocking the ray beam that is going on the wall. If this shield blocks for more than about 5 5 or 6 seconds, it will completely cancel it. You'll have to go grab another gauntlet from the exact same spot. It'll basically just go back to its spawn point, and you'll have to restart. So I strongly recommend. They can block in 2 different spots. Once again, they can block right here at the front, or they can block all the way around on the back. Again, the most kind of like risky and hard to do step, especially solo. So you really can just completely ignore the zombies. Just keep your chakrams ready, or whatever you're using for your specialist, and just kill as quickly as possible any shield blockers, because the longer they block, it's basically more and more chance that you're going to fail and have to restart. I got pretty lucky with the nuke here because this is extremely difficult. But once it is done, it will basically open up a hole in the wall. You're going to hold square on that hole in the wall. You'll actually get the staff back, and then you can go ahead and place it back into Ra's hand, and he will open up another little reflector dial in the floor, and you're ready to go on to the next step. So now every single player on your team needs an upgraded gauntlet on their hand, and you need to head over to the amphitheater, and once all of you are there, it will start this little thing where you will have a spotlight on the ground. You stand on it, it will start a trial, and it's basically a sharpshooter trial. You're going to stand in the hallway, basically where your number was originally called, until you see your spotlight on the floor. And whenever you see your spotlight on the floor, run over to it and then step on it. It'll start tracking you until you kill off all of your zombies, and you have to do it in a certain amount of time, because if you don't, it will reset, you'll fail, and you'll have to start all over again. Whenever your screen turns black and white, head back over into this area. You'll step on your spotlight again, and you'll basically get a checkpoint. That basically is all you need to do. It's just a lot of repeating the same thing. It's a lot harder if you have more players, especially if you have a player who doesn't really know how to use their gauntlet, because all you have to do is basically know, hey, it wants me to use a charge attack here, or hey, it wants me to just use a normal fire here, and that's all it is. And if you have multiple people, you'll have to do multiple of these at the same time. Like, multiple people will be doing stuff, and then some people will still be back and just waiting and everything like that. So don't be scared to use your ammo. It does give you a little bit more ammo whenever you start this thing, and just keep on completing it exactly as you see me doing it here. And yeah, once you have done that completely, you'll get a big activation sound once again, and you're on to the almost last step. So once you've done the sharpshooter step, head over to the River of Sorrows with a pack-a-punched gun, and you're basically just going to shoot this door in the order that I shoot it. It's the same in every single game, thankfully, so just follow exactly what I do here. You're going to shoot this one, and then you're going to pause like me, and then you're going to shoot this one here, and then you're going to shoot this one here, and then that one, and then just run around the corner, obviously avoid zombies, and then go back and shoot this one. And at this point, you're going to get a cutscene if you are either Shaw or Bruno. I won't spoil it for you. I'll have a link in the description down below if you want to watch all of the cutscenes in this in one video, obviously, if you want to just, spoil yourself. But you'll get a little mini cutscene here. I'll skip the rest of this cutscene, and let's get on to the next step. So once the cutscene is completed, a giant crossbow will come out of the floor. You need to go ahead and get your Pegasus, place it down right on top of that symbol. Pegasus won't kill any of the zombies, thankfully, but he will come down and shock this thing out of the ground and basically prepare it for you. And once he does fully shock this out of the ground, it's fully ready to go. You can go ahead and grab the upgraded wind gauntlet. We are finally using that bad boy. And you're going to head over here, and you're going to shoot it on the right-hand side with a charge blast, and it's just going to slowly move it. You will have to move it probably a lot more than you think you will. You basically just have to line up this little step with the end of the crossbow, but just keep on blowing it, and eventually you will get a quote about it being lined up. All that is left is the trigger mechanism. So all you need to do to open up the boss fight is to go ahead and go back to the Temple of Apollo, spear it with your spear, use a teleporter, get back down to the underworld, turn on the acid trap, run straight through it, and your spear will actually turn green instead of red. Now, once your spear is green, you're going to head back up, melee the rope right here. It will shoot the big head that is floating above Pack-a-Punch, and that will actually open up the portal to go into the boss fight, which we are going to talk about how to beat that and finish this Easter egg right now. So for the boss fight, there's 2 different stages. The first stage is that you have access to all of the platforms, and you have to fight Pegasus. Pegasus will fly by, drop a bunch of electrical energy on the ground that will hurt you if you step on it, and the big Perseus in the middle will be firing fire at you. And all you really have to do at this stage is just take out your gauntlet when Pegasus flies by, and then just spam shots on him as he's flying by whenever he's in range. It will do damage to him. Eventually, he will go vulnerable. He will fall down on one of the platforms and turn kind of yellowy, reddy, orangey, and he will be vulnerable. Take out your specialist weapon when Pegasus is down like that, and just go ham and trying to do as much damage as possible whenever he's down. You'll have to do this a couple different times. You'll get progress rewards by getting different max ammos, but it will also start closing off the platforms. It'll close off the first platform after you do enough damage to him, and then just keep on going back and forth between the 2 platforms. Eventually you'll kill Pegasus, and then Perseus will fight you himself. At this point, you're gonna be constrained to 1 platform. You will not get any more max ammos during this time, so do conserve your ammo. Don't even worry about shooting zombies if you can help it. Just train them in a circle, possible. And whenever Perseus actually comes down and fights you himself, you're just going to want to dodge his attacks, which is usually just kind of like a fan of blades type attack where he throws 3 swords at you, and you just want to do as much damage as possible to him with whatever weapons you have. The Mog worked perfectly for me, but you can use whatever you want. You can use your gauntlet as well, and then same thing, whenever he goes down into his vulnerable state, you want to go ahead and take out that specialist weapon and then do as much damage as possible. That's really all it is coming down to. Just dodge attacks, don't touch electricity, and then whenever Pegasus actually goes down, once you do enough damage to him when he's vulnerable, he will actually electrify a whole platform for about 30 seconds. So make sure you always jump off right after Pegasus kind of gets up from being vulnerable and injured, whatever like that. Grab the key at the very end and you will get the cutscene. That's really all it is to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, all that I ask is that you subscribe, leave a like, let me know in the comments down below if this was clear enough and fast enough. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you later.